exactly like that.
Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shunuyam Devaah Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangaistushtuvaagumsastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vrithishravaah Swasti nः Pusha Vishwavedaah Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let us chant the seventh mantra of the Mandukya Upanishad. Nantah pragyam na bahish pragyam na ubhayatah pragyam na pragyanaganam na pragyam na pragyam adrishtam avyavaharyam agrahyam alakshanam achintyam avyapadeshyam ekatma pratyayasaram Prapancha Upashamam Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyante Sa Atma Sa Vigneyaha. This I need to readjust this. Why does it fall down? I have to work on that. So yeah, pardon me for all these adjustments. I'll try to make it better next time. Anyway, welcome you all. It's so wonderful to see you all. I would like to think about ways we can incorporate both the YouTube as well as the Zoom ones. I was mentioning earlier that we will do a survey. So I think the possibilities are as follows. You can think about it. Either we can keep this way, where we have 5 classes on YouTube, and then followed by a 6th one to kind of go through the previous classes. And one of the reasons for doing that is that I would like to keep the focus on this text, Mandukya and Karika. This is an important thing. This is what is called alambanam. So the alambanam means that really you have all the Vedantic texts that talk about the same thing in various ways, including the Bhagavad Gita. But it is good to focus on the basic principles of Atma Vidya through one text at a time and with one guru at a time, so that you are able to use that as the basis for your thinking. So this is what is called alambanam. Swami Akhandananda actually makes it very clear. He said, this is the principle of our Vigraha Puja in our Hindu tradition, which almost no one else has. He says, I don't think people understand how important it is to have a Vigraha in front of you, that you can use that as an alambanam. Alambanam means a kind of a basis for further exploration. So when you go to temple for Ganesha temple, let's say, and you have a Vigraha of the Ganesha, you are not just focusing only on the aspects of the Vigraha. That is just a starting point. But then you begin to pray about all the aspects of Ishvara that is incorporated in that Vigraha. And so that becomes a basis. So similarly, the teaching of a text also is very much like that. It is the whole Vidya is not just in that text, but the text provides you with a way to explore your ideas and to assimilate them. And so I would like to keep the focus of these Zoom sessions on the discussions that we have had in the last few classes. Preferably, if you have other questions, I'm happy to answer them, but it's not. But the focus should be like this. So now, in terms of our future options, one option is to keep it like this: five classes on YouTube, one on Zoom. The other option is to make it more frequent, maybe after 3 classes. Also, another option is in the Zoom sessions, should it be only question answers, or should there be some teaching as well? So I think we can, I will ask Chandra to note down those points and formulate a survey that will ask you for those questions and ask for your opinions, and we will go forward with the best way to do that. But I think we should have the Zoom sessions. There's no question about that. I think we should
एंड
definitely.
तक रख के ना 1 मिनट स्लेट से बढ़ा दिया 1 मिनट.
So with that, I'm not sure that I will have any teaching I can, but let me straight away open up to any questions that you have, particularly with respect to the last few classes that you may remember. If not, then any question is okay at this point in time. So let me pause and see your questions.
You can just raise your hand and then ask the question so that we can just call on people, whoever is raising their hand. Thank you.
Where is Panna? Is Panna not here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I don't see you. Oh, there you are. Sorry. I know that you said you had a few questions. So that's why I'm remembering you when you sent me the email. So
So I had this question about, not about the last few classes, but just in general. So we have this concept of kartutvam and bhoktutvam. So I understand kartutvam. So by transcending kartutvam, you can become a karma yogi. But I don't understand the concept of bhoktutvam. Do you need to transcend bhoktutvam as well? Or because, you enjoy somebody's hospitality, you enjoy your teaching, and we are grateful to you, or any other thing you participate, or you become, you take part of somebody's gratitude, or so how do you transcend that book? Do you need to transcend the bhoktutvam?
okay, good question. And I'm going to give an answer that may not provide the answer that you are looking for. But this kind of discussion and answer is more important for advanced sadhakas. Okay, so allow me to elaborate on Panna's question, and forgive me if I take a few minutes to kind of set the stage for it and so on. Quite a bit of, and I think this will be part of it, is that, you want me to just quickly answer something and then go on with it, or should that become an alambanam for a discussion which is wider and, in my view, more meaningful in the end? Okay. I will start with a few classes ago, if you remember, I had talked about an epiphany that I had in learning the text from Swami Akhandananda Ji's. This was in Drigdrishya Viveka. I'm reviewing that as well. I find there are beautiful insights all over. In this one, it answered a question that I had for a long time. And Panna, forgive me, I'll come back to your answer, but it's going to be an elaborate one, okay? So what we have discussed was a very important verse that occurs both, I believe, in Kathopanishad and in Mundaka Upanishad. And it goes like this. Na ayam atma pravachanena labhyaha na medhaya na bahuna shrutena yam eva esha vrinute tena labhyaha tasya esha atma vivrunute tanugum swam. This is the verse. And this verse says, as you know, that an understanding of the Atma, a clarity about what we are all seeking, you will not get by simply talking about it. Pravachanena labhyaha. Swami Akhandananda, if you allow me to just elaborate a little bit, Swami Akhandananda says, I have seen so many teachers of Vedanta who can quote verses from Bhagavad Gita, from the Upanishads, from Brahma Sutra, and they are so articulate, and the people love them, they are very popular. He says, I know they have come to me and said, Swamiji, I don't have a clear vision yet. I can talk a lot. Similarly, if I feel that I have taught a lot of Vedanta, and we have, I have really spent my whole life in teaching different texts and so on and so forth. If I feel that I have completely understood it, I'm mistaken. So, na pravachanena labhyaha, na medhaya. So, medhaya means memorizing the verses, or being able to, like, for example, supposing we do Rudram, we feel very good about it. It just gives us a lot of shanti. And so we feel that if I keep doing it, I've actually had some students who say, I'm getting more and more into chanting. And the more I chant, the better I feel. I feel like I should do that all the time. So Akhandananda says, a trap. No. Na medhaya. Na bahuna shrutena. If you think that I've been attending a lot of classes, some of Vijay's classes, some Swami TV's classes, I read a lot and so on and so forth. No. And this was a doubt that always used to plague me until it got really explained so well by Swami Akhandananda that really created an epiphany in me. So I used to say, then I don't understand what else do I need to do. I'm learning, I'm teaching, I'm thinking about it, and this is part of the bhoktritvam and kartritvam, and seeing, how can I not be a bhokta? How can I can go beyond a karta, karma yoga, etc. This is all part of a genuine inquiry on my part. So we are not foolish. We have been studying for a long time and so on. And yet, this is not going to give you what you really want. Really? Because I used to feel, how is that possible? It wasn't until I completely understood what Swami Akhandananda was saying. And he's not saying just once. He is backing it up with a complete explanation of why this is not going to happen. So the second line, which is also the second line of the 7th verse, na antahpragyam na bahishpragyam. So in the antahpragyam, bahishpragyam, you can include kartritvam, bhoktritvam, all of that. What should I do? How should I behave? What should my attitude be, etc. All of that is antapragyam, bahishpragyam, uvataya pragyanaganam, and so I feel, I don't know, this is the way it should be done. The second line says, either one, yameva esha vrinute, tena labhyaha, tasya esha atma vivrunute. Just to complete the meaning of this, Tasya esha atma vivrunute. Vivrunute means it exposes itself. A lot of the acharyas say this. It is almost like the atma stays covered, doesn't allow you your own atma. This is the funny part. Your own atma you cannot touch because you have not chosen it. I've read so many books on this that became very clear to me. And some of those books said it is very much like a male approaching a female or the vice versa and trying to become intimate with it. And he or she will not do that until you have made a commitment to that person. It is not a one-night stand. It is a commitment. This is what happens in the arranged marriages in India. You cannot sleep with your spouse until you are married to that person. This is very important. Similarly, we talk about, what should I do? How should I behave? What my attitude should be? This is all secondary. The primary thing is you have to resort to Ishvara and say, I do not want anything else. I'm tired of living. I'm tired of making adjustments. All my life is finished and I'm still not happy. Why? Can you please tell me? You are there. I need to really become totally dedicated to you. Until that decision comes around, nothing happens. Now, if you watch some of the classes that, I taught, I think about 5 or 6 weeks ago, And since then, what it says is, and we are now going to get into it in more direct fashion with the adrishtam, avyavaharyam, alakshanam, etc., is to say there is some beauty in your Atma which is unexplored because you have not made a commitment to it. So now I will somewhat summarize and go on to answer Parna's question, even though this is not complete, but at least just to finish off this, I don't want to take the whole thing on this, is to say I wouldn't worry about what to give up, what to adopt, what my lifestyle should be. You explore the beauty of Paramatma. That itself will take away all the problems. You don't focus on what to believe, what to leave, how to adjust. This is all part of samsara. You're never going to get away from it. But if you just close your eyes, so to speak, and commit to it and say, Paramatma, I don't understand how I cannot see you. I need to see you. I need to understand you. This kind of a commitment, which requires vairagya, which requires really going away from the useless things of doing in my life, until that becomes, and if you're not able to do it, then carry on with it. It's okay. But there has to come a point where it becomes a desperation. And when that happens, you forget about kartritvam and bhoktritvam and how to behave and how to make friends and what to do and so on. You just try to understand the mahima of Paramatma, Parameshwara, which is nothing but your own self. It's not away from you. That sense of commitment and exploration is really what is required. So, as I said, I did not really answer your question directly, but you gave me a chance to explore the wider, the more basic, the more fundamental quest that the advanced sadhakas must do. I don't think anybody's going to answer my question after that, because they'll be afraid that I will get on them just like I did with the last questionnaire.
No, that was a very reassuring class, we had, that you just surrender to Ishvara, and that's all what you need to do. That's what you
And
had.
I think not only surrender is one part of it. Explore. I think one of the most, each word about Paramatma is so important. We just, like for example, in Gita, avyaktoyam. You take that word. And here also, adrishtam, avyavaharyam, as we will do now. You just can't just say, yes, adrishta means that one cannot be seen. Okay, now I understand that what cannot be seen. Avyavaharyam, then what you cannot have any transaction. Okay, I know, understand what that word means. This is not it. You have to almost stop, not even go any further. So what do you mean by avyaktam? How can I be avyaktam?
Manifest.
How is that possible? And explore it. And of course, you cannot explore it until you surrender to it, until you commit to it. But we don't. Pretty soon we just look at, okay, I'll look it up later on. I don't understand it yet. Well, understand what it is. But and once you explore and commit to it, I think Swami Dayanand used to say this. I think I've given you this example so many times, and it made a big impression on me. He said, if supposing Einstein were to come and to give a lecture, and you attended a meeting, and you were asked to give an introduction to Einstein, and what will you do? If you don't understand what Einstein has done, you'll pick up some kind of a book and say, Sri Einstein, he was born on such and such. He's a great person. He did his PhD. This is not a praise based on knowledge.
Or knowledge of
The best thing is to take up a book by Einstein and understand what E is equal to mc squared is. Once you do, and if somebody asks you to introduce Einstein, you'll have a completely different view because you will see what this person has done, what kind of an insight he has opened up. Same thing is there. All these are very innocent looking words. Avyaktoyam, achintyoyam, Bhagavad Gita. And you say, okay, now I know this verse number, chapter 2, and so on. Let's go to the next one. Don't stop there and just close your eyes and say, what do you mean? I am Avyakta? How? This is the exploration. This is the surrender that we need to have. Otherwise, we can read books, explore things, and it won't have the same.
Thank you.
questions. Yeah, what you said. True.
I think Keshav has his hand up.
हाय गुरुजी मेरा नमस्कार स्वीकार हो गुरु पूर्णिमा दिवस सप्ताह है तो my question is after learning from you for the last 20 years at least I can say अहम ब्रह्मणो अस्मिन् मैं ब्रह्मन हूँ. Now from that perspective each and every human being is Brahman. So, if they don't understand it, they have not gone through Vedanta, but they are still Brahman. Now, why some teachers call them foolish, stupid? Because they have not understood. But in gist, like they are gold, they are not ornaments. So why people, the teachers, address them as stupid and foolish? Because I learned from another Guruji, we can call them ignorant, but not foolish and stupid.
Yeah, that's
Namaskar.
That's true. Do you know, Keshav? Can I give you a more advanced version of that? Again, this is something that we haven't reached that yet, but we must.
From what you are.
You will not yourself know that you are Brahman until everybody that you meet
He's Brahman.
you have an idea that's me. A foolish person is me, an ignorant person is me. Everything has to be me. It cannot be, you cannot even say, I know Brahman. You don't know Brahman. You can only know Brahman when there are no questions, no separation of the world from you. It is exactly like a dream. In a dream, everything, whether there was a foolish person or an ignorant person, is also you. You cannot wake up and understand that I am Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, until you can also say, everything that is happening is nothing but me alone. Even people behaving with me, misbehaving with me, is me alone. I cannot be bothered by it. I cannot pass judgment on it. It is just like that. So this is much more than that. We have to come to that point. Simply reading books and saying Aham Brahmasmi is nothing. In fact, we are deceiving ourselves. And so this is what it is all about, that we have to see that I, as a jiva, is actually an idea. It is not the truth. It is an idea. The only truth is there's only Paramatma. If you allow me, I would do a little bit of teaching at this point. Okay, so while please keep your questions, but so what is said is there are two ways that we have to look at the world and the truth and myself. Two ways. What are the two ways? One is what is, and one is what appears. In more technical terms, the first one is called a vastu, and the second one is called avastu. And in very simple terms, we can take the analogy of the screening of a movie. So keep that in a minute, I'll come back to it. But going back to the definition of vastu and avastu, what is characteristic of the vastu is that it is real and does not project itself. You cannot project. This is the meaning of avyaktam. So just in that point, let me just elaborate it. So there's a vastu and an avastu. In the projection of a film, look at this. What is the vastu? There are in the Vyavaharik Sat of the projection, there are two vastus. Vastus meaning one which is solid, which you can touch, which you can rely on, which is there. And those are the two vastus. What are those? One is the light that is projecting, and the other one is the screen on which the projection is. So in the case of a movie, these are two separate things. In the case of Paramartha Satyam, these two are one. But that's a separate thing. Let's leave that aside for a minute. This is the vastu. Now here's what happens. What is the definition of an avastu? An avastu, and this is what Maya Shakti does. What the Maya Shakti does is to make the avastu look like vastu. A very good projection system does that. Especially these days, my God, compared to what we grew up with, where the picture on the screen was hazy, and now it is 1080p with surround sound. And the things that you see are so real. But are they real? A man and a woman becoming friends, talking, fighting. They're all so appear to be so real. But are there vastu? Is there any solidity to it? The only solidity is a unflickering light. And there is a mechanism, which is a film going through, that creates that illusion. But the effect of the illusion is that the characters that you see appear just as real as you and I are. This is the movie projection. We need to see what is happening in my life. And what is happening in my life is as follows. My life is like running a movie. And if you think that the 1080p and the surround sound that we humans have made is impressive, think about what Ishvara has made, what it is possible for the instruments that we have for our projection. Just think about it. Here's what happened. Here's what it is. My life is a combination of vastu and avastu, a reality and a projection. This is what it is. How all the ingredients of projecting a movie are there. Every one of them. This we need to understand very clearly. This requires a lot of teaching, but I'll just give you the gist of it. Okay, I am the light. I don't need any light. Swayam Jyoti. I don't need any screen. I am the screen. Swayam Bhu, Swayam Bhavati. Steady. That's who I am. And I also have the means of projection. You know that film that we talked about that does such a good job of projecting the 1080p and the surround sound. I have that. What is it? It is my mind. And what is the script? These are my samskaras. These are my vasanas. This is the plot I came up with in this life based on my previous experiences. I have all of that ready to go. The moment I'm born, where I'm born, in whose company I'm born, is whose company I live in. This is all part of the projection. And what I'm doing is I'm getting lost in the projection. Every person that I see, whether it is a foolish person or an ignorant person or a good person, whether it is bhoktritvam, kartritvam, it is nothing but a projection. And it is avastu. It has no reality other than yourself. You are the light. You are the screen. This needs to be explored. The whole world is nothing but a projection. And a projection, please see this, a projection has the ability to fool you, but it has no substance. And the only substance is the vastu. You are the vastu, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. In your Sat, there is a projection of is or is not. Some people are there for a time, they are. Some people go away, they are gone. It is like certain waves in your own ocean that were there and they're gone. So your own Sat is projected and onto the others. Then the other one is the light. Some people shine in front of you. Some people don't shine in front of you. Exactly like happens on a screen in a movie. But you as the light never changes. Then comes to Ananda. And this comes to the bhoktritvam that Panna was talking about. What happens is you are abhokta, akarta. You are Ananda Swarupaha. But you don't know that. And so just like your Sat also gets projection into things that are there or not there, your light projects into what is lighted, what is not lighted. Your Ananda also becomes spread out. Yes, I like this. I'm very happy. That person is not liking to me. I don't like that person. So the likes and dislikes and sukha dukkha is also a projection. It is your own projection. This is the truth that we must explore and understand, because otherwise you're going to spend the whole life in watching a movie that has no substance, and you are still outward looking And so 80, 85, 90 years will pass and you will start a new movie all over again. Never putting your attention, never exploring, never surrendering. Yamesha, Yameva Esha Vrinute. You have to say, I am tired of watching movies. The problem is we want movies that are very pleasant. But we do not understand that I am the one who is projecting the movie. Until you come back to it, life will go on. New lives will come. Nothing will be explored. I hope that invokes certain questions in your mind. I hope it does. You're just as silent today as you are in my YouTube classes. And I don't get any feeling whether did you get it or not. Do you think you appreciate it? If not, you say, no, I don't understand that. What else do I need to do? All of that has to be done. That's when the dialogue can take place. Zarina, you had your hand up?
Yeah,
Unmute.
I think Zarina, Sanjeev ji has one, but Zarina
Okay.
is on.
Okay, Sanjeev, sure.
No, namaste, Vijayji. No, I just wanted to follow up on Panna's question. And I totally understand, not totally, but I think I understand a little bit of what you said earlier. But on a more vyavharik level, is it fair to say that it is not that kartritvam leads to bhoktritvam, but bhoktritvam leads to kartritvam? Like if you give up the bhoktritvam, then the kartritvam will just sort of dissolve or disappear on its own.
So just to answer on the vyavaharik level, as you say, both of them are interdependent. This is exactly what happens. This is what follows in our life where I do something and I expect the results. And then based on that, every result results in furthering my actions to the next one. And it keeps going. And I guess at a relative level, if, leaving aside the absolute level that we were talking about, you're just doing that, then there is an advice given. So there is a relative vairagya that one should have. Okay. And that is give up. So the Gita goes through this in a very systematic manner. First of all, you give up the results of the action. And then you give up the action itself and all of that. So we can go into Gita and really look into that. But in a very simple terms, what is said is, do actions that are necessary. Give up actions that are not necessary. As a result, you will find that the results, the bhoktritvam, not the bhoga, will be acceptable to you because you did something the best you can. Like, for example, you're a doctor, you perform surgeries. it is your duty to really do a good job in your surgeries. But the results may not often happen. But you know, when that is, if something should go wrong, you don't go into a detail about why God, my God, I made. You did the best you could, and the results were not there, and so you go on with it. And so this is good for your actions that are needed. Your job is needed. You have become a doctor after a lot of thought. Patients depend upon you. So this is needed. But suppose you do some things that are just arbitrary. Okay, let's go to such and such place. Let's enjoy. And you found out that there were some results that, you know, this happens all the time. Recently, just somebody told me they just wanted to go to visit New York for one weekend. They got stuck in airline traffic. They had to wait 17 hours on the flight. They were barely there for one day, and hardly they could enjoy, and then came back again to St. Louis. And it became such a disappointment for them. Now there was no need to go. You did it on your own, but there was a sense of disappointment which really was very palpable. So there is a difference, Bhagavad Gita says, that give up kamya karma. Nitya and naimittika karma, do it. And so there the bhoktritvam will be very soft. It won't touch you. But if you do kamya karma, then the bhoktritvam becomes much more pungent and can really hurt you. So that is a first step towards the relative understanding of this, but even that is just temporary. Eventually, you have to go to this kartritvam and bhoktritvam is a pair which will never go until I understand this is just a movie. Serena?
So, if I understand this correctly, when we understand our own Swarupa as Ananda Swarupa, then the quote unquote Bhoktutvam and Kartutvam become irrelevant?
They become soft.
Soft.
They become, they don't bother you. They're
Right.
there because you've already started a life. And so the elements of disappointments and satisfaction will continue. But, you know, this usual advantage given, the example given in this particular one is, supposing you have a Brahmagyani who is a Mahatma, let's say Swami Akhandananda ji, and I really respect him because he has spent his lifetime talking, discussing, thinking, and so on, and he's come up with a very, very excellent explanation of what Jivan Mukti is all about. So I'm just taking his example. Now, he is from Varanasi area. Okay. Now, the question is, if he goes out, what restaurant is he going to go to? He probably won't go to on his own because his people will take him. But let's take an example. He's not going to go to a South Indian dosa place. Why? Because he's being reared into puri aloo and chana and all the Varanasi food and so on. So is it to say, no, you're supposed to really be irrelevant and you don't have to think about it? Exactly the same situation here. You can carry on certain likes and dislikes based on what you were born with. But all this time, there is a certain softness that it doesn't matter. If he has to go to a dosa place, he will go. even though he doesn't write, not naturally. There's something like that.
Thank you.
Raj,
So I was thinking along the lines of desires. So the approach one would take with desires would be to apply Viveka Vairagya and be able to go through the transactional world. And eventually, as you apply your mumukshutvam, etc., the sadhana chatushtaya, the desires will weaken, and then they will not be as, they will sort of dissolve and not be as strong. And you will continue your life with lesser desires. And I think that automatically reduces the amount of interaction with people. So you will be doing more and more important focused things. Is that enough, or do you think as this progresses further, you need to change to another asrama and take up sannyasa or something? Or is that sufficient to go through life and get the desires, get weakened and weakened, and you are in a direct path at that point without having to achieve desires, but they're weakening, your transactional world is weakening, and what would be just continue that way is enough?
okay. Let me just say this. The method of Advaita Vedanta, which is what we are studying, is giving any importance to desires is useless. So this whole path of weakening desires and slowly doing this and so on is not Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is to see that all desires, whether they're strong or weak, are avastu. They are like these movie screen characters. Because this is a very important thing, that what happens in my body and my mind is also avastu. It is also part of the plot of the movie. Don't think that I'm okay, I'm just looking at the whole world and they are just coming and going. You are also coming and going, just like the dream. This is exactly what we're studying in the, and we will become more committed to the understanding through the Karika. Exactly what happens in the dream. Because you cannot have a dream until you are there as a dream character. And you also have other characters in the dream. So not only are the other characters gone away when the dream goes, you also go away. So your own desires are also mithya. They are also just a projection. So this whole Advaita Vedanta is not to reduce your thoughts, but to see that they don't matter. I am somebody separate from that. And if you're not quite ready for that, then fine. Think about it, but that's not the path that the Advaita Vedanta says. This is not what we say. This is what our sampradaya is. This is what Adi Shankara Advaita is. That it is a understanding of the vastu. What is the reality? Where is the vastu? You are the vastu. And right now, your understanding, this is what Ramana Maharshi focused on, and very beautiful. Understanding of who am I? Right now, my I is mixed up with my body and mind. This is what it is. And it's a mistake. The I is not mixable. So this is Advaita Vedanta.
Can I kind of elaborate on what I was asking a little more?
Sure.
So when you identify yourself as the mithya world, there is still transactions going on. So you will have to face some amount of transactions. And as you go through the transactional world with the understanding that it is mithya, and also going through the aspect of bringing into your life the sadhana chatushtaya. So you're going through that process until you reach where you will completely detach. There is a phase, I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong. And during that phase, you will see things not bothering you anymore. You don't need that anymore. You don't care about that anymore. You don't have to travel anymore. Is that a strong enough path that you keep at it?
No,
Okay.
not according to Advaita Vedanta. I'm trying to see whether we went into this in the last few classes of Mandukya. If I will check my notes, and if not, then I will redo this. The fundamental answer to what you're asking is, if you are waiting for your thoughts to come down, you're going to wait forever.
Actually, no. Actually, no. So the thoughts are going down through the process of Viveka Vairagya. So you will notice that. I mean, at least I am, but unless I. So your thoughts are going down. Things are not mattering to you as much. Is that a state of progress?
Okay, so let me answer that. There are two ways, and this goes back, by the way, to my earlier thing about na ayamatma pravachanena labhya, etc. Okay, this goes back to the same thing, so I'm reiterating that. There are two ways of reaching the goal. One way is to keep focusing on your mind, which is a drishya, which is part of the avastu. Keep focusing on it, trying to improve it, etc., etc. And one day you will reach what you want to do. This is not the path of Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta says, stop it. And the way to do that is to understand what is the to dwell on what is the truth, and the untruth will drop off by itself. And so to wait for the truth at a future time is wasting your time. You're just do it right now. And why is it that you don't understand what the truth is what Advaita Vedanta is saying. I'm not talking about you, each to one of us. So this is what is talked about. Yameva esha vrinute tena labhyaha. You have to forget about what improving your movie going. You have to see what is causing the movie to be there. That is what is necessary. And yes, I grant you this. Suppose your mind is agitated, or supposing your body is sick. You're not able to see what Paramatma is. Fine, we understand that. But those are extreme cases. But as a methodology, as a prakriya, this is a very important thing for us to see what Advaita Vedanta is. And if I have not really talked about it in detail, there are some very beautiful sections that have been summarized by Swami Akhandananda. I'll go over that in the next couple of classes. And we'll spend some time on it, and so do that. But I wanted to give you at least the answer and have you think about it, and then we'll discuss it more.
So one last thing I would like to ask. I would like to give a very specific example, and to make sure that I'm in the philosophy, in the knowledge. You need to make a decision. Take an example, your child going to college, and the child has to make a decision which college. You have a preference, and the child has a preference.
Right.
This is a transactional thing, important thing. You can't kind of like say, I'm not interested, or it will go by itself. And the child is looking towards the parent to give a direction as well. So you have to do that. It used to bother which college, but it doesn't bother anymore which college. The end result doesn't matter. You just do what it takes, so the end results of whatever is good for everybody matters. That is a transactional world. There are some important things you have to do, and you're not tied into the result, and you're trying to look at the end goal, and you have to go through the transactional world.
Yeah.
Your thoughts are now not agitated as they used to be. And then similar examples you can think in the financial world. You have to do a financial transaction or anything. You're not as much agitated, and you are still have to do these important things. And as the agitation goes, your detachment is coming in, and you see in general progress where whatever the result is looking as good as the other result.
Right. So
that is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Desires
I understand what you're saying.
Yes,
I understand totally. Let me answer that. At a relative level, what you are talking about, tied to what I said earlier to Sanjeev's question about how the desires, what is to be done, what is necessary, what is not necessary, works at a relative level to engage in things that are necessary and accept the consequences of that will give you relative vairagya, no doubt about it. So the way you are talking about, I don't disagree with, okay? The question is, how far are you going to take this? Because you have to think about beyond life. Because there will be time when the body will start failing, when the mind will start failing, and you will still not be happy. You are much more relatively happy considered what you used to do before, but you are still not quite there yet. So at a relative level, to improve your thinking, your mind, your commitment is fine. No issue. But we're talking about moksha. We're not talking about simple things. We're talking about Jivan Mukti. Having freedom while you are still alive. And so until you really now focus on that, it will elude you until the next life. Why do that? So therefore, to summarize, I would say that focusing on reduction of your mind's, making your mind quieter and clearer at a relative level is possible. And so this is the drishya-oriented task. But the bigger thing is to not even think about it until you are clear about the drik, in which case your vairagya will become complete. It will not be partial. It will not be dependent on circumstances. At this point, you are still dependent on circumstances. What happens to the family? What happens to your job, your health? You are extremely dependent on it. And you can make it okay up to a certain point, but not to the degree that you have the right to do by the examining on the drik. This is the tenet of Advaita Vedanta.
So that brought me together.
It's 9:45. So Raj, I think other people have questions, so let them answer questions. So Rani, you had a question. So it's 9:45, Guruji. So I think we can answer probably a couple more questions and wrap up.
All right. Okay.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Really a nice format to have this Zoom class. So my question is somewhat related to what we are talking about. So it's not so much, I mean, we're grahast and there will be transactions in life. It is more not that we don't participate in the transactions. This is kind of my understanding also from the class we had at the Gurukulam, but our attitude and how we take it. So if from our attitude, from our mental perspective, if we can dissociate and take the vairagya, although transactionally we are behaving, of course, eventually we need to reduce that as well. We can't be in a lot of pleasure-seeking transactions all the time, but to a certain extent that's required as part of being grahastha and living the life. But from a mental perspective, if we can understand that I'm playing a role here as a mother or a wife or sister or whatever, but mentally dissociate with it, then that'll help us go more towards the state of Jivan Mukta or moksha, which we may or may not attain in this life. But that's the direction. Is that correct, or is my understanding?
Again, I think the answer to that is the same thing with Raj, is that at a relative level, that will be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't completely solve the problem. The complete solution of the problem can only come in the examination of the drik, the vastu. If you don't understand the vastu, then all these other things will be bothering you to one extent or the other. And certainly you can improve your attitudes, that I'm playing a role. All of that is doing that. But really speaking, you still have not faced the real question about who are you, and what is happening. And so this is what we have to explore. And I think that I will continue to focus on this in our classes going forward. I will renew my dialogue with respect to some of the questions from Raj and Panna and yourself and others. So we will continue to do that. But that is what needs to be done. That is the Advaita Vedanta tenet is. So I think we will close this, and what I will do is I will ask Chandra to pose a couple of questions to you as by way of a survey, and then we can adjust this format going forward and see how we can make it work even better next time. So with that, I take your leave. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. All right.
Everyone, namaste.
Okay.
Namaste.
Thank you.